holy crap, this dude, Craig Keefer, is an incredible human being. I mean, resonate is, I think, a minor word to describe how I feel about this man. We are like kin. He is spiritual, he's entrepreneurial, he is so open-minded, and he is literally reinventing himself right now in the world of real estate. And I'm really enjoying getting to know Craig. He lives up in Sedona, Arizona, and we've had opportunities to hang out in person. He was at Squad Up Summit. He got to hang out with us for a day with Pace and Jamil. And I learned from him as much as he's learning from me. So really enjoy having these conversations and getting to see where a guy in his mid-40s, like myself, gets to reinvent themselves and figure out what's next. So, Craig Keefer. Craig.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
Dude, it's good to see you, man.
Great to see you too.
To have some time with you.
Yeah, man. This is Kevin, thank you.
Oh yeah, that'd be $10.
Ooh,
Okay.
special delivery.
Of course, he's gonna charge me $10.
Didn't you buy those?
Fucking Koreans.
Kimchi, the spread.
I love you, Kev. Oh, it's so good.
It is so good. I just had one.
So, how's it been?
Man, it's been good. I feel like I'm learning an incredible amount just being in the community. Excited to get my first deal under my belt here, getting there. Learning so much every day, but the mindset is really where it's at for me. Holding that mindset and keeping the vision of what we want to create. So that's been a huge tool every day, and I just love that that's part of what you show us.
It's so interesting that I'm so grateful that you noticed that and that's where you resonate, because it's what lights me up.
Yeah.
You know, I have evolved out of the money. Not that the money's not important. It's super important, because you got to have the capacity to have it not be top of mind. Right? Money has to leave its level of importance in your consciousness in order for you to see and be receptive and open to other things in it. And so it's like Maslow's pyramid, right? The hierarchy starts with like physiological needs, okay, check. And then it's, okay, safety needs, check. And then next it's like, okay, belonging somewhere, check. So you get all these little pieces, but you can't get to that next spot, which is where we start to create.
Yeah.
If you're still worried about how we're paying the mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's tough. The tough part that I find is that when you do need to know how to pay the mortgage and not allowing yourself to get caught up in that, that's where the mindset comes in. And it's like, yeah, you need the money. The money is important. I want the money, and I daily, multiple times a day, need to pull myself back, especially when I'm doing my agent outreach calls. I can't come into my calls with this feeling of need and scarcity. Like I can't function from that level, even though I'm in a place where I had a 20-year career. 2 years ago, I left all that, and so started to kind of look for, okay, what's my next mountain that I want to climb? What's the next thing that I can see myself doing for years down the line? And it's like, okay, I finally figured it out. I'm in the wholesale real estate, and that's going to be my start. So I am desperately like, I want to make some money. And figuring out then, like, oh, this is how I make money now. This is a new way of making money. Going to that jump is a big deal for me, and it's a big deal for a lot of people. And that's where the mindset stuff comes in. Because it's constantly, our mind is constantly looking for reasons to be in scarcity mode, to protect us, to be safe. You know, you talked about the Maslow's triangle of needs, right? And it's like, yeah, we want to be functioning at the top, but you know.
Oh no, the body doesn't,
the
body doesn't want you functioning up there.
No.
It's too risky. Because now you're living in a world of faith. And faith is not scientifically reproducible.
Yeah.
Right? Because like out here in our culture, we've been so settled into the discernible, measurable, reliable sequence of events that we want to have predictability in our life, and we're told that that's the safest, most secure place to be in. And for a lot of time, it has been really helpful for people to have the security and, you know, these things. And some people just need that level of security so that they can enjoy their families, so that they can enjoy the other things that they're here for. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's super available, and that's like one of the orders you can place here. And then also you can place a different order, which is, actually don't want it that way. I want to be self-sufficient. I want to do this on my own. I want to create it like this. But I'm going to need to live in a faithful place for that to be my world.
Even as you say that, I could feel my nervous system just being like, it just took a breath. It's like, you talked about what you wanted, like what we really, truly want. It's like, yeah, that speaks to me. And it's different. It's tough to get that because I have my family. I have my mom. She's like, she wants me to get the secure job. You know, I left a union job to go to something unsecured. And it's like, wow. She's like, really, Craig? You know, so it's like some people you just can't talk to about that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, you don't have to either.
Yeah.
You know, which is, brings me to my next question, because I know that you moved to Sedona, which is like, if you Google spiritual places in the United States, I think Mount Shasta is number 1 and number 2 is Sedona, Arizona.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's hilarious. It's like, okay, so
that.
Sedona's the spot, right?
Oh yeah.
So what brought you into Sedona? Like, was it the knowing that there was a lot of good energy there? Had you visited it in the past? Was it the girl?
Yeah, it's all part of that. It's, I was in LA for about 14 years and working in the film industry as a camera operator. And, the lockdowns happened a few years ago with COVID. We started looking, as like traveling around the country, Leandra and I, and we were like, well, if not LA, like where do we want to move next? And so we went through, kind of a long story short, but we went through Sedona. We finally said, yeah, this is the place. Actually, we were on a hike. I was overlooking this canyon. I'm like, this place is really beautiful, babe. I think we could live here. I could move here. She's like, I got that on camera. I didn't know she was filming me from the back. And so one thing led to another. We just kept holding the vision of finding a house in Sedona, and we did. One popped up on Zillow. We had an agent. Funding, everything fell through, just like boom, boom, boom. It was like meant to be, and sure enough, 30 days later, we're closing in Sedona. And so we had that. I went back to work thinking I was gonna, we were gonna Airbnb the place out. I was gonna stay in LA and work and go back and forth. But the direction of the film industry changed, and I pulled back, and we decided to give that up and leave LA and make Sedona our full-time home.
Yeah. What's it like living out there?
180 from LA. Yeah. We got there. When I got there, it was just like this energy that's just dense, and it's just like, it just like stops, and it's still. It feels very still and dark. It's beautiful. We love it.
LA, you mean?
No, in Sedona.
It's dark energy?
It's dark, like physically. Like you can see the stars.
Yeah.
It's like
there's no light pollution or anything like that.
No light pollution. And on a new moon, it is like pitch black. Like the first week that we were there, we moved in on a new moon, and we have our dog at the end of a 6-foot leash walking around our yard at night because we don't know the yard. It's like a half acre, so we're trying to figure it out. And it's like, I can't even see her on the end of the leash. It's like that dark.
Wow.
So it's totally different, right?
Yeah.
Sedona's 10,000 people, and in my neighborhood in LA, there was probably that. So it's like, it's a huge shift.
Yeah.
But it feels like a really great place to just build from. It's been a blessing because, now working from home, Leandra works from home. It's like, we're just in this full-time building mode, and she has been rebranding herself since leaving LA, changing her accounts and everything. She's always did coaching, but we're just in this place of like growth right now. And it feels like a really great place to do that because it's free of distractions. We don't have anything pulling us in different directions.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
like once you're up there, it takes a while to get anywhere else.
It
So
does.
you have to think 5-6 times before you get in the car to go somewhere, because it's like, is it really worth it?
Yeah.
You have to really get pulled into a situation for it to make you leave Sedona.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just even coming down here to Phoenix, it's like, oh, I got a 2-hour drive ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like in LA, everyone wants to come to LA. There's so much accessible
and
there.
and you just go to work and it's a 2-hour drive ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly. No joke.
No joke. I mean, that's
Yeah.
actually what it is. Bobby and I went from Marina Del Rey to the Valley one afternoon, and it was 2 hours. Like, what
Yeah.
the hell, dude? This is stupid.
Yeah, that's when the podcasts come in and with books on tape and all that
For real.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's been an awesome shift. You know, we feel incredibly grateful because Sedona, as we've heard, is not always easy to find a place to live. There's a lot of people that are just like, all the locals, they say, oh, it's tough to find a place, and we don't necessarily want to share our stories because it was relatively easy for us to it felt like it was supposed to be. Like it just fell into place. And we did. When the house was, when we were closing on it, we didn't know if we were going to get it. We would just sit there and hold the vision for it, and we just manifested it. Said, if we're supposed to be stewards of this land, please make this transition easy and let us know. And if we're not, it's just something better is along the down a little further down the path. So we just held that energy, and we like to call it quantum rational optimism. In the quantum, it's rational to hold that vision. People like to say that's unrational optimism, but in the quantum, it's rational optimism. So Leandra and I have this thing where we're like, how are your QROs today? How's your quantum rational optimism and holding the mindset of what we want? And Sedona is a great place to do that too.
Yeah.
It's a powerful place. And
Hello.
it's like,
Good morning. Hi, guys.
hey.
So, yeah, I mean, because you are in a field out there of some pretty incredible energy. So what has been one, palpable aspect of Sedona that lets you feel like it's a special place?
Gosh. One aspect of Sedona that left it feeling like a very special place has been just being in nature, feeling the connection, and I would say it's a heavy energy. That doesn't mean evil or negative. But when I first moved there, a little story on this, I'm like, okay, everyone talks about the energy in Sedona, but what is that? And I started asking the locals, and one of the best answers that I got, they said, well, look around, all these red rocks. That's iron in the rocks. So there is literally, a pull, energetic field in this area. And as a result, whatever we're thinking in our head will come to the surface. It'll shake to the surface. That energy lets things that are kind of buried down below come to the surface. Now, that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just an honest thing. And for those that aren't ready to face that stuff, the energy can feel very confronting. Right? A lot of people move there, couples, and they break up shortly after. Or people get there, they can't sleep. They're like, something about this place is really heavy. So they pull away. But if you're ready to do the work, if you're ready to not, to face what comes up and be honest, to look at it, to talk about it, to see the things that surface, it can be a very healing place. And you can feel that energy. It's beautiful. The natural beauty drew me into the place, but the longer I stay there, I mean, there's something very, what's the word? It's just still. The desert is still. You get out there past some of the rocks, and there's nothing happening. It's quiet. Except you can feel that it's been this way for a long, long time, and it'll continue to be this way. There's something very remarkable about that. It feels like there's a real rich history.
Yeah, it's neat because you get a glimpse of eternity.
Yeah.
In a scene.
Yeah. Yeah, and
like
so
this looked just like this 500 years ago.
Yes, exactly. Like nothing's changed. And it's
Yeah.
just over than that hill that you can see there.
Yeah.
We have a view of Thunder Mountain. It's one of the large mountains in West Sedona from our house. And we know those hiking trails pretty well. We go up there all the time. And it's like you get on the backside of that and it's just quiet. We love it. You know, I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, so I grew up in nature and I love in the mountains. But it's got that energy. And I tell people, you know, when they visit the vortexes, they want to go to Bell Rock and certain areas, like, just say, be careful about what you're thinking when you're there. You know, hold the visions that you want to create, because when you're on those powerful areas, what you're thinking about will come to happen, will come to light. So just, you know, hold the good thoughts.
Have you gone out there and thought about deals?
Every time that I'm on a walk, yeah, I'm holding the vision.
Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep doing it, because you understand what the process is. So
Yeah.
that's the best way for you to be able to bring it to the surface.
And even that I have that space, I need to check in with myself. I need to just constantly remind myself of that each day and take a time to just focus on that. It's
Yeah.
easy for me to just forget about like what energy I need to be functioning in. And that's why I'm so grateful for you and for the Astro community to have that reminder every day. When my QROs start to fall off and I start to feel in a low energetic vibration, I just jump on one of the calls with you and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is it. No other community offers that. You know, this fantastic gift that you give us all to build those two worlds.
That's cool. Thank you for sharing that
Yeah.
with me. It's such an interesting exchange that we're all doing with each other, you know, because everything you're saying that you get from me, I get from you guys. It's reciprocal. I'm just as fed in that.
It's an amazing thing to have skills in different areas. I mean, in the wholesale world, I feel like a white belt still. I feel like I have a lot to learn, but I know I'm going to get to the black belt level and I want to get there. But I'm also looking at like, how do my skill sets now, how do they help me enter that world and become a better wholesaler? Like what do I have now to offer? So I'm constantly always looking at that and trying to apply that. But
what I would tell you, because you have the ability to tap in and kind of magnetize yourself and you're in such a powerful place, one of the things that's been not even a secret of my success, but has been a big attribute of it, has to be open to receive and like to put it out there, knowing that you have to take action and that there's no substitute for taking the step. That's your job, because we all have free will.
No substitute for taking the step.
Yeah, there's no substitute for you taking the step. You have to choose to take a step and then take the step, right? Somebody said, I don't know who it was, but the alphabet, right? There's B, C, D. Okay, so you're born, that's birth, and then D is death. What's in between B and D? C, your choice.
A choice. Wow,
You
cool.
get the choice.
Yeah.
And you get to choose your whole life. And you're just choosing your way through little things. And you can choose it hard, you can choose it easy, you can choose it fun, you can choose it scary, you can choose it funny, you can choose it painful, you can choose it tragic, you could get to choose the whole thing. But but it's hard to know that we are the ones making the choice. And that the only reason why we get so disconnected from that is because you make the choice and then you get the result a little later. And we forget, when we get in our pile of shit, we forget the choice we made that put us there.
We forget the choice that we made that put us there. And we're living from whatever, you could say 6 months ago prior.
Yeah.
So whatever in mental state we were in, we're seeing the
result of it right now.
The result of it right now.
Yeah, because the world moves in its time, right? Like everything is causal. So you're cause and effect. So you're causing something today that's going to have its effect in some time. And because we're not instant gratification out here, because it takes time for things to happen, we forget that. We're forgetting that, oh shit, I made this choice. Or, oh, and so it's like, it's just knowing that. And so if you can invest in your choices and see your choices as investments, see your choices as assets that are investable, and they're not immediately going to produce, but they're going to produce in some time. And so then when you're making these choices, you get to put them in your little piggy bank of stored potentials that are going to start to unravel for you. And then all of a sudden you're sitting in this life where all of your choices are starting to unravel in such a cool, beautiful way, and you get to ride that whole thing. But you built it. And you can also ride those choices straight to hell.
Right. That's a choice too, right?
You absolutely can, which is also pretty fun. For some people,
It's exciting.
I was talking to a lady yesterday who said she was working with this guy. She does this interesting therapy, this like, she sticks a hose up your butt. I wasn't doing that, but she does it for some dudes and people. Anyways, so she takes out all the like stored crap in your body or whatever. I guess like a spiritual colonic, it sounds like. But so she was talking with this guy, and she says that he was the most like irritating person that she'd ever had to deal with. He kept her on the phone for like 3-4 hours, and then decided not to use her. And then about a month later, reaches back out, wants to keep her on the phone for another like 2 hours. Finally makes a decision to book with her. He comes out to work with her. When he gets there, he's like, I think you're too expensive. And she's like, come on, dude. You came all the way out here to negotiate with me? And then he's like, well, I think it's too expensive. And then so she told me the line she used, which was like, all right, honey, what can you afford? And from the point, because he was rich. And so from a rich guy to have to hear that from somebody is like, all right, then, what can you afford? It's just like, what a kick in the dick, right?
Because it's like thing to say.
Perfect thing to say, because that's like the ego trip right there for him to have to swallow, right? So anyways, as she's doing it, she's laughing because she's realizing how hard this person is. And he's not, everything of it was just grinding gears for her, right? And so, I guess normally it's $5,000. She makes it $4,000, and she says, at the end of it, something malfunctioned in that. He was so full of shit. He was so full of shit inside that it exploded in her room, and so she said she came in, and he's just sitting there, covered in shit. There's shit all over the room. And he's looking at her with this look on his face. And he's like, I really made you work for your money this time, didn't you? Didn't I? And she said she couldn't stop laughing.
I paid for this.
Because she's like, I did this whole thing. I took your fucking $1,000 off, and I did all this, and I put myself in this butt, and you just came and shit all over my room.
Literally full of shit.
Yeah, the whole thing. And like, what a great choice for her, right? And she got to see, oh God, wow, I made the choice to like let the man waste her time, then made the choice to do the deal at a discounted price, and then had to suffer the consequences of it afterwards. And I thought that was just so telling of how it goes with us.
And it's our choice along the
All
way.
the way.
We get that.
Yeah.
And he had some shit to clear out.
He sure did. And then, afterwards she said he was like the sweetest thing. And he ended up paying her the full price.
Wow.
Because he realized just how shitty he is
to deal with.
Yeah. And so he paid her the whole thing and was like, and tipped her and was like, I'm sorry, and wrote her like a beautiful email, and like it kind of like opened him up and made him a better dude.
How perfect though.
Right?
Yeah. That's interesting that we get a choice. So in the real estate, industry that we're in, it's about the relationships, right?
Yeah.
And how we work with people and how we can come across and how we can help each other out. And it's like staying in that energy, is a big part of it. Like, how do we deliver value? How do we hold the energy of creating relationships that are beneficial for the other person involved? And at which point it's like her, do you obviously I assume he was supposed to be there for a reason, but how do you not get taken advantage of and as well?
Yeah, well, I think understanding, because one of our biggest errors, I think, is that we assume everybody is the same. We assume like, oh, if somebody's selling their home, they're gonna want to sell it for top dollar. That's our assumption. Like, because you're like, well, common sense would say that if you're selling something, you want to get the most money for it. That's not true. Some people need a quick sale so that they can move on to the next thing. Some people, there was a woman that Brent Daniels did a deal with. She knew that she had this house that was worth X dollars. She just wanted to sell her house for a good deal to somebody that she resonated with, that she thought was going to be able to take the money he'd make from it and go and do something good with it. And so she chose Brent. And he's like, he was questioning her right up until the closing. He's like, are you sure you want to do this? Because
he was questioning
her because he was so dumbfounded by the intention that she put into this. Like, I just want to help you. I want to help somebody. And he couldn't understand how somebody would want to just give away equity or give away the home to be helpful to someone. But look at what Brent Daniels is to so many people right now, right? So like, yeah, that was absolutely a very important deal for him, because it opened up a gate in his mind that said, hey, we all have these different personalities and these different goals and things that we want out of the transaction that we're having here with our home. And it's not your decision or your choice or your job to know how what you offer helps me. Your job is to just do the thing that could be helpful and present it whenever it's a presentable option. And somebody will one day say, yes, that's right for me. And then sometimes they'll walk and say, it's not right for me. And when they say, yes, that's right for me, that's where you make your living.
That's good. I often feel like I get caught up on am I offering enough value?
That's the value.
That is the value though, right?
Yeah.
You're helping someone else out of their situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we can bring as wholesalers to the table.
And then you're also helping the buyer who's going to go and flip that house or do whatever it is, who doesn't have the time. See, in this again, we want and ask ourselves, why would somebody want to pay you an extra $10,000 to find that thing? Well, do you know what that guy does all day long? Do you realize that for this person, they wouldn't have a business without you, because they're spending their day looking at tile and paint colors and doing all kinds of other decision making.
Yeah, while deals are coming to them.
So that's the cost of doing business in their world, right?
Yeah.
So the value is just being the conduit between the two things.
Holding yourself as the conduit, a connector.
Yeah.
Bringing two parties together.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that.
And when you can do that just openly and transparently and honestly, then it just makes it easier. And the whole, I think one of the most distasteful things that the wholesale industry has created is just because we as a people or society has like put so much shame around money. It's like, man, oh, my friend opened up a business, great, now I can get a discount. It's like, why are we looking at our friends as people to exploit, to take advantage of, to pay less to? It's not supposed to be like that. You should be wanting to pay your friend double. It's your friend.
Oh, it's your business. Yeah. I'd
Right?
love to come in for the
I'd love
opening.
to come up and do this.
How can I support it?
Yeah. Instead, we're like, hey, how can I take advantage of my buddy? Why? Because money is shameful. Who told you that?
Or money's hard to come by.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just this antiquated story of like how it's this thing, but it's whatever you want it to be, right? It's whatever you want it to be. And so like I was just recently telling these guys about the Rolls Royce, right, that I have. And it kind of reminds me of being in the amusement park.
Is that the purple one?
No,
Oh,
I have
the
white
one
one.
out
Yeah,
there.
like when you're in an amusement park as a kid, you're like running around, playing all the games, and you have an idea because you looked at the little gift shop and you're like, I want that thing. And so you're out there playing all the games, collecting all the tickets, playing all the games, collecting all the tickets, playing all the games, collecting all the tickets. And then you go and you finally, after however long it took for you to collect all those tickets, you go to the counter and you give them the thing and they give you the stuffed animal and you're like, great. And you play with that stuffed animal and half an hour later your dog's fucking it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, because that's what it ended up being. It's just like, it's your dog's fuck toy. And like, but you did all of that work and spent all of that time for that result, right? Because it's the joke. It's all a big joke. It's all a big hilarious joke. So the hilarious thing is I did that for the car.
That's good.
And like, sometimes I'll just notice just the fact that my dog just pissed on it. Or a bird just shit on it.
On
and
the
it's
Rolls
like,
Royce?
oh yeah, or even it just sitting in the garage is literally my dog pissing on it. Because it's like, what is it doing here? I collected all those tickets for this thing to just be in here and be the, take up space. Hilarious.
And not being attached to it.
Yeah, I have no
just a thing.
attachment to it.
Yeah.
I have no attachment to it. It was a fun toy for the moment, and it gave me the dopamine I wanted in that little bit of time. And now it's just like, all right,
Yeah.
let's put a dog in it.
Yeah, and what you're saying, it's like all this time to work for these things, but I admire not at that level yet, but I admire being able to just not have the attachment, enjoy the things, but not have the,
You
the
learn
outcome.
that. You learn. I was attached to a lot of stuff before.
Sure, I get attached to it all, and I'm constantly reminded to everything I have, like, oh, it could be taken away from me.
Yeah.
Anything.
I think that was one of my lessons is like I got everything taken away so many times that you start to, the detachment becomes the survival mechanism. Right? Because then you understand how temporary all of it is.
So what keeps you working and playing at a big level?
I'm in the game. I'm in the amusement park.
You enjoy the game.
Yeah, I hear all the sounds. See all the lights. I see all the smiles and I see all the cries, all the things. And you're like, okay, well, if I'm in the park, I might as well play.
Yeah. There's just so much to do in this lifetime, right? We get these bodies that we get to go and we get to work or get to create whatever we want, and we get to experience different things. And the richness of life is a gift. And to see how much we can accomplish and how much we can bring to other families like you do by starting a business. I think that's my desire now is I ultimately want to start a business so I can provide that for other people.
Awesome.
Have that. And it's like, that's what I get out here every day.
Yeah.
I want the comfort. I want the money too.
Yeah,
sure.
have it all.
Yeah.
Have it. I think that's the beautiful thing about it is that it's not supposed to be this. Look, having it all is going to come with its own set of barbed wire, right? Every palace has a dungeon, and you're going to find yourself in it sometimes, and sometimes you're going to be in the master bedroom doing your thing, and sometimes you're going to be locked in the cell doing your thing, and it's just going to be like, what the hell? But that's the joy of it. You get to see all the rooms, do all the things, and some days you're like just loving it, and some days, just like the neighbor over here, you're torching the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is also fun.
To get to that level where you have a mansion to torch,
Yeah.
You're playing at a level. It's like, oh, I have this car I can just enjoy, or I could add on to it. I could update it. It's like either way, you're playing at a pretty fun level.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, imagine those movie directors when they're like, all right, we're going to drive this Ferrari off this cliff, and we're going to watch this thing explode. And they do that. They take a $250,000 Ferrari and they just put that thing and they drive it off a cliff. What a fun job.
Yeah, in 5 seconds, it's gone.
So good.
Yeah. Well, it's a fun world to play in,
Yeah.
and I want to take it as far as I can. And the mindset stuff, I just love that. Again, I just said it already, but it's key.
Would you say that's the biggest thing the community has brought to you? What would you say are the few biggest things?
The few biggest things that the community has brought to me is actually just seeing the value for one of, well, the community and how everyone can help each other out, right? It is a network that is incredibly uplifting. It's got the most fantastic people that are doing the most incredible things. Everyone in the group that I've met is a stellar human being. And it makes me realize, like, wow, I really want amazing community around me. I was missing that for a long time. For me personally, leaving, this last couple of years, leaving the film industry and stuff, it was like, oh, I need to have community in my life again. And so that's been incredibly rich for me.
Awesome.
Blending the worlds, as we talked about, between business and mindset. I've had coaches on either side of that, but I've never had a mentor really blend those two together for me. I've had beautiful ones on both sides, but I'm just grateful to know that you can be spiritual and have money. My partner Leandra, that's her whole thing. She has done other stuff with business coaches and spiritual coaches, and they are all trying to push her down one way of doing things, type A personality, putting this kind of content out there, and she doesn't align with that. So she's trying to do something very similar. She's like, no, I don't have to play by those rules. And we've realized that it's not common. It's not the norm out there. It's actually very difficult to find someone that blends those two worlds. So
Wow.
That's a huge gift. You can have both. And just learning how to, I think my thing right now is I'm learning how to provide value in something new that I don't feel totally comfortable with yet. Like I said, I feel like I'm a white belt in wholesaling. But how can I bring value from that place? And it's stretching me to be like, oh, I do have stuff to offer. I go into this old conditioning of childhood traumas of being like, if you're not the expert, you just sit back and, wait for your turn. Or, what's the mentality? It's like, I'll have value to offer when I get to this level.
Hi. Can I have a hug?
Oh, there's Uncle Jay. That's sweet. Your girls look all done up.
Look at you. So pretty. Oh.
Sweet.
I love them.
They love you. Yeah, what's the word? What's the word that I'm thinking? It's I'm drawing a blank on this one. It's imposter syndrome on some level. I don't know if it's imposter syndrome. It's like just trying to figure out where I can add
What did Layla
value.
Hermosi say the other day that was so good? She's like, let's switch the name for imposter syndrome to inexperience.
Just inexperience. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
an imposter. You're not like this, phony that's pretending to be something you're not. You're just new.
Just new in it.
Just new at it. And so we want to make this, because it's like we want to be the expert so fast. That's what makes us feel like the imposter.
Yeah, exactly.
But you won't own the new.
Yeah, and expecting to get good at something that's difficult and know it right away it's just not going to happen, right? It's like learning a new language or learning how to dance or whatever it is. It's like there's going to be a phase in the beginning where it's like, oh, this is going to be tough for a while, but if I apply myself religiously and do the work, it gets easier and easier. So I definitely have chosen something that I'm like, oh, okay, it's fun, it's stretching me in new ways, because with that, being an entrepreneur, like you say, the success is an inward journey, and I love that. It stretches capacity for leadership, just organization, the day-to-day nuts and bolts of how I run my life, scheduling, time blocking. I have a whole new skills, people I have to now get back to. So I have to keep feeding that pump and keep getting back to people. And I'm feeling now like I'm starting to get pulled towards what I want, instead of having to be the one that just keeps, finding the energy to get up and to make calls.
Well, here's a hack for you, because when you're having to find the energy to do it, it means it hasn't become habitual yet, right? Because you don't have to find the energy to do the thing that's subconsciously happening. You understand? Like you get in the car and drive to work, it's doing it for you. You didn't need a lot of energy to do that. Everything that you do that becomes habitual ends up being in that subconscious world of yours that you do as a part of Craig's personality, because you've just conditioned yourself to that specific thing. And so the hard work, and why it costs and feels like so much energy, is because you're creating these new neural connections in your brain when you're doing something new. So that takes a tremendous amount of energy to create those two little connections. Because here's a new little nerve, here's another little nerve, and they're like, let's be friends. And now it's like they're gonna do this, but it takes so many calories and it exhausts you for that to happen. But once that connection's made, now this can become a subconscious thing. And being on the phone, if you watch me kind of be on the phone, I just tap into a flow place, and it's not not at all stressful or excruciating, because I'm tapping into a subconscious program that's installed into my whole system already.
Because you've been doing it for so long.
Because you do it for so long, it's your habit.
Yeah.
Like for me today, I didn't work out this morning. That was more difficult than what I do every day. Because every day I have my set routine, and so it was like for me not to walk the dog, for me not to work out, for me to have done everything just not how I would normally do it this morning required a lot of energy. It's why I've been yawning all day. I'm just like, why am I feeling like this? I'm like, oh yeah, it's because you didn't do what you normally do. So your brain is like, right now, it's just like, oh, what's happening? And so like the same thing's going on for you. So here's the trick. The hack is creating the new pattern, right? So here's the best way to explain it. Okay, if Craig's current situation, and I'm not saying that this is what it is, but let's just say that it's from this place where you want more, right? So then what you have right now is not enough. So we think. Okay, so not enough Craig, you're emitting, let's just patternize it and call it a shape. So not enough Craig sends out a pattern of a triangle. Okay, just so you can visualize this. And the triangle is now the shape you're putting out there. So we know in science that like attracts like, so you're just seeing triangle after triangle after triangle after triangle after triangle. And because not enough Craig sends out a triangle, it's gonna get more reinforcement of situations that are gonna prove that Craig's not enough.
Pause there. Sorry, I got on video. Please remember that sentence.
Yeah.
I need to change his mic.
Copy that. Yeah. Triangles.
It's weird, right?
I love your analogies, Jamil. Make it very clear. This piece of art is crazy when you get up close to it.
I know.
Did this same artist do the one of the Buddha with in your background? Jamil Buddha?
Cool. Resume.
Check.
Triangle.
Thank you, Bobby.
So you're pushing out all these little shapes, but it's the same shape. Not enough Craig sends out his triangle, and you're gonna get the situation where you're gonna get proven that you're not enough. And it's all these little things that you're gonna do all the time that are gonna reinforce it, right? So the only way out of that is to put out another shape. That's it. It's the only way out of that. If you don't want to see triangles anymore, put out a circle. Right? Okay, so how do we put out a circle? you got to put out a new shape. New shape is a new pattern. That's it. New shape is a new pattern. So like, okay, let's draw a new pattern up. So you can actually sit down and say, okay, like, hey, I want to remove this. I want to insert this. I want to take out this. I want to put in that.
Yeah.
And then now you do the things that guy does.
Yeah.
Right? What I see from a guy like Grant Cardone, who isn't necessarily my vibe, right? But he does everyday billionaire shit. Why? How? Even if at one point he wasn't a billionaire. In fact, the funny thing about him and I is that at 2008, we both went to the same negative number. I think it was negative $1.8 million or something like that. And then today, 2024, he's worth $1 billion. I'm not even close to that. Right?
So you guys both lost money and you guys got down to the same point.
Same negative. Yeah.
And then the same
and the
amount
same
of
time frame. And then to see where he went with it, right? Because he just placed a different order.
Yeah.
And then he that almost like understanding that faith that like I'm gonna do this almost in a delusional way of like, yeah, I'm not in, like delusion is just people saying that you're not understanding the physics of the world or the rational physical universe, and so you're delusional. That's what people are like, oh, this guy thinks he sees Jesus, or this guy thinks he can fly, or whatever. He's delusional. Okay, well, what if in a world you could see Jesus and you could fly? Is that still delusional?
It's not.
Now, I'm not saying to go jump off a bridge or go knock on churches' doors looking for Jesus. You'll end up in a hospital. But at the end of the day, your deepest desires are totally accessible to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to face them with enough courage to be honest about what you want, because we get shamed out of the things we want.
That's a huge part of it, isn't it?
We get shamed out of it. We're like told, oh, it's so bad to want that.
We're limiting
oh, that's so
beliefs.
tacky. Oh, that's so this. And it's like, man, like tacky to who?
Yeah.
Tacky to you?
We're all born with on some level of unsupportive beliefs in that area, aren't we? I mean, I would go as far to say that, but sometimes they can be tough to see. There's negative imprints on money, on jobs and security and what it means. And once you have it, you got to hold it because you could lose it. All these things. These are all unsupportive thoughts. But what you're saying is, getting out of that space, just changing up the mentality that you're putting out there in the world by choosing a new shape, a new thought,
new shape,
and
new
holding
perspectives.
That. Yeah.
And it's all you with a new outlook.
Yeah.
The funny thing about I'm starting to understand about levels of consciousness is levels of consciousness isn't like a it's not like we think of it like, oh, I'm gonna know that I've elevated a level of consciousness. No, what ends up happening is you have a new perspective, you have a new vantage point. So you get to see things from a higher view. And when you get to see things from 10,000 feet sometimes, then you get to see it and how everything kind of connects and how it's all going, the tapestry of it all. They're like, oh, wow, okay, so look at that little pitfall led me to this beautiful mountain peak. Love that, right? And so you almost got to look at it like Big Craig is watching Little Craig from wherever he's hanging out, and he's laughing his ass off at you. He's laughing his ass off.
Stumbling through it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I can
He's
feel that.
just like, you dummy.
Oh yeah.
Look
There's a
at
part
you
of there's
go.
a part of me inside that knows that too.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh
Yeah.
this is all silly. This is just playing
And
a
you
game.
might meet him one day, and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
gonna laugh his ass off at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's fun. That helps take this all less serious.
No shit.
Just thinking about that, my nervous system just changed, which is a beautiful gift. Of course, going back to, what you're saying of like the gifts we got from Astro. I mean, it's just shifting the pattern in my life, and it's a gift to have something new, to take a new skill set and learn so many different skill sets from it. I am feel like I'm reprogramming a whole new life for myself. And it's exciting because I know I want to call in, but that's where it's like, oh shit, if I actually get what I want too, it's fun and it's exciting, but it's requires new levels of ourselves. And that requires pattern interruption, which is one big lesson.
What kind of movies do you like the most? Romance, sad ones, comedies?
Oh gosh.
What are you resonating to?
It has to be good. I like when the whimsical, like good stories you can get lost in, like Big Fish or The Fantastic Mr. Fox or Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
You know, these ones that like tell
You know
a
why
story.
you know why you get called to those movies? Because it's a parallel to how your life's gonna go out. That's why you get called to those movies, because it's just foreshadowing for you. It's like, hey, want to see how it's gonna go? Watch this movie. And then it's your higher Big Craig is laughing at you because you don't realize it's you.
Yeah. It's just what we want.
Yeah.
What we're calling in.
Yeah. And then little Craig just gets a big handful of shit and throws it at the TV, and you're mad.
Yeah. Yeah. I asked for this.
Yeah. It's the best. Mine's a comedy.
You're like the comedies?
Oh, hilarious.
What's your favorite comedy?
All of them.
Yeah.
But no, like I like some stand-up stuff. I like a thing with a good button. You know?
Good button.
A good button. Like the Rolls Royce or the whatever, like being in the amusement park and then, you know, working so hard for the stuffed animal for it to end with the dog fucking it.
Yeah.
It's a great button.
Yeah.
Because
I
it
get
just tells you the whole totality of like its meaninglessness.
Yeah.
But it means
Groundhog
everything.
Day comes up.
It means everything. Groundhog Day is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so good, right?
So
it's
good.
like one of the classic comedies of all time. And we're literally doing that. And it's like you're going through it, you're bumping your head against the wall every single time.
Just laughing at ourselves.
Laughing at ourselves, just making a fool of our shit.
Just how, they think it's so important when we're in it. I think it's so important.
I know.
And I have to stand back, and it's exactly what you're saying. It's like, this is just a game, man. We just get to
And
play
we
this
just keep
out
playing little games everywhere we're going.
everywhere we go. And it's good. And it doesn't need to look like anything. And it can be fun along the way. And it's enjoyable.
And get so in it that you forget it's a game, but then also give yourself enough grace and space to see that it is.
And we can do that with everything, right? We get to choose that, whether it's building a career, whether it's having a family, whether it's taking our own life day to day in our approach and the way that we move through it. It's just taking it less serious. And I get caught up in that for sure.
Oh, hell yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have that and to look at it like you said on one of the calls, like making it fun, making the calls fun. If you're feeling like it's dragging on, just make it fun. And so I go into each part of the business. You know, sometimes I make calls all day long to agents, but for some reason, the very first call of the day is the hardest one for me to do. It's like, just make it fun. I don't know why that still is. It's like, but then after that, it's like, oh, okay, it's off, and I'm
You should.
running.
Bobby did a great thing the other day. He started the calls off with a joke.
Oh, that's
And he's like, I hear you want to sell your house today. Well, I'm here to save the day. And then everyone, look, here was the best part about it, is that he ended up getting every asshole on the list picked up the phone that day. Every person that picked up the phone that day, you could tell that guy is he's the dude who shit all over my friend's room.
Oh, yeah.
That's who he called.
That
Every
guy.
one of that guy. He called that guy
Yeah.
each time.
Those tough ones.
Those tough ones. And each time they laughed. They'd be like, ha ha ha, take me off your list. And like, it was just great because he even got the dude who shits all over the room to chuckle for a second.
Laugh.
And then,
Which is a win.
which is a win,
Huge
right?
win. Yeah.
So that's it, you know?
Just enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Figure out something that's going to make you chuckle, or what's going to make it whimsical. Because you like a whimsical movie, so start off in some whimsy.
Start to think about that.
Yeah.
I enjoy like when a call starts off and I know they're like, who is this calling? You're calling at random. This feels like a scam. This feels turning that around, you know, actually getting them to drop their guard. I can feel it on the call when it happens. And some people they're not going to do it, you know, no matter how much they're just not ready to have that type of relationship and you move on. But there's definitely some agents that I feel like, oh, their guard was up heavy, but you know, it's a little win when you break it down, and then they're like, you're laughing together, or and then they're like, yeah, call me out. And I always leave it like, you know, I'd like to follow up with you in, you know, about a month or so. Would that be okay? And they always say yes. You know, just like to stay top of mind. Is that okay with you if I give you a call here in about a month if I haven't heard from you? And they say, oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So it's like, it's that little shift from, those are the wins that I enjoy getting. And that's what makes it fun for me. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm learning that I'm good at this. Because I don't necessarily have a sales background or making calls.
It's not sales.
It's not sales.
It's people.
It's a people thing. Yes, that's a
Can you
way
connect?
better. Yeah.
That's all. We're not selling shit. And that's where I think everybody gets it wrong. Because they're like, they pick up the phone sounding like, hi, my name is so-and-so and I'm calling from, and then the person's like, oh my God, what are you trying to sell me?
That was me in the beginning.
Right? Like,
Totally.
stop selling me things! And then they, you know, they want you to go away. But if you're like just calling as a normal human being, a little relaxed, you know?
Yeah.
What's it? Joe Dispenza says, relax in the heart, awaken the brain.
Relax in the heart, awaken the brain.
Yeah. It's a great spot to be in.
Yeah, that's a beautiful spot to live your day from. I love that. And you bring that as a gift to all of us. So
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, we all get to do it together. And having that community feels incredible. So I'm thrilled to be part of the Astro community.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, man. Appreciate you.
What a beautiful dude, right? Ladies, he is taken. So, you know, don't slide in his DMs with any like hanky-panky, but send him a comment below and let him know just how incredibly special he is. I love the guy, and you guys can see why, right? He's heartfelt, he's real, and his frequency is just very inviting. So really enjoyed that, and I'm excited to see where he goes in this business, and we're gonna keep coming back with more of these special edition episodes at To The Moon, baby, so keep coming back.